What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new episode of the 8 Below Show. Welcome everyone to 8 Below. Thanks for being here, guys, to the best gaming related show here on YouTube. And I'm super excited about our episode here today. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's get into it. A title that I'm really excited about, guys, is Dead Island 2, the much anticipated sequel to Dead Island. And this is a title, guys, that I think, has been through, without question, a development hell cycle. And obviously it's been something that's been well documented and it's been an issue for quite some time. And I want to go ahead and talk about Dead Island 2. Is this something we could get an announcement here in 2022? We've talked about Dead Island here on the YouTube channel quite a number of times. You guys can check out all of that content here. But I want to talk about an update, where we stand at this point in time with Dead Island 2. So let's get into it. So first of all, guys, I think it's really important that we put some context around Dead Island. I mean, obviously the first title was really awesome in my opinion. It was different in a number of ways and was unique, and I felt that this could be a very long withstanding franchise. Well, it's interesting. Techland, the ones who of course created the Dying Light series up to this point in time, they were connected to creating the first Dead Island, but decided to not work on it and instead work on, of course, Dying Light, and then now Dying Light 2, which is very highly anticipated by a lot of people. And so Dead Island, obviously has had somewhat of a shaky history, but obviously none more significant than that of Dead Island 2. This is coming to us, guys, from Ian Stokes of Games Radar. Epic vs. Apple continues to reveal insider information. Dead Island 2 and the next Saints Row game will both be Epic Store exclusives on PC, according to an Epic Store document from 2019 that was made public during the ongoing Epic vs. Apple legal battle. Epic has been providing all kinds of evidence in its legal jousting match with Apple, and there is plenty of juicy information hiding in there if you go digging. One such piece of information revealed that one piece of evidence, the review of performance and strategy document, makes reference to both Dead Island 2 and an upcoming Saints Row game being Epic Store exclusives. This comes from the same document that revealed Epic had spent nearly $1 billion on securing launch exclusives for its PC gaming storefront. So first of all, guys, I think this being Dead Island 2 being a Epic Store exclusive makes a lot of sense to me, especially seeing as how this has been in a development hell cycle. You kind of wonder, what the future of this title was going to be at some point or another. But I think that this is probably a good thing for that, and I actually think it's a good thing for Saints Row as well. I think that Epic Games has done a really good job, guys. I mean, obviously with Fortnite, but even with their Epic Games Store and really trying to build exclusive content similar to like what we're seeing with, Xbox and PlayStation, it's very interesting. You'd be forgiven for thinking Dead Island 2 is never coming out, but publisher Deep Silver has recently confirmed that it's still on the way. If and when Dead Island 2 does finally get released, though, it's going to be an Epic Store exclusive on PC. Since the document is from 2019 and is quite vague on details about the Saints Row game in question, it's not clear whether it refers to the upcoming Saints Row 5 or the previously released Saints Row 3 Remastered, which did launch as an Epic Store exclusive in May of 2020. So look, at the end of the day, guys, I think what this tells us really at this point in time is that Dead Island is not dead, or I should say Dead Island 2 is not dead at this point in time. We think of, you look at so many games out there, and obviously a lot of these games are in different phases of development. And Dead Island 2 is a very, prime example of a game that has been in a development hell cycle, which, whether it's like from significant creative differences within the studio, or if it's other things, pressures from the hires up to get it pushed out sooner or to delay it, or, did they have to, let people go and things of that nature because of the pandemic and all these different things that could have happened with Dead Island 2. But this has been something that has been ongoing for a long time over at Deep Silver. And you just wonder, guys, is this going to really hurt what the final product looks like? I'm totally down to wait for Dead Island to come out, or Dead Island 2 to come out, for it to be, fully polished, ready to go. Obviously, we don't want this. The worst thing that could happen is that this game releases after all these years, and it's got all these bugs, glitches, and all these issues that it launches with, and then that's really going to kill the fan base, or really just like the player count of people playing the game, and then a lot of other people are going to move on to other games, and then this really will be a dead franchise at that point in time. So I really want them to just take their time with this title. I mean, I look at games like Dying Light, for example. First one comes out, everyone, a very really different in a number of ways, but very much so building like a really nice foundation of fans. The same thing happened with the first Dead Island. Then you get to Dying Light 2, and they've delayed it a number of times. And so it was starting to create concerns, but we started to see more and more as gameplay started coming out and such that this was worth the wait. And that's the way I look at Dead Island 2. I'm hoping that it's worth the wait, but I really want them to just take their time. Techland took their time with Dying Light 2, and I think it's really going to pay off for them. We're already seeing that it's going to be, to complete the game it's in its totality, it could take up to 500 hours. And that's something pretty awesome from a game like Dying Light 2. And so with Dead Island 2, I want to just see a fully polished game that's not going to release with a bunch of bugs, glitches, things of that nature. So the answer is, are we going to get an announcement here in 2022 of like a release date and things of that nature for Dead Island 2? I think there's a really good chance, guys, that we do see and hear more information about it. I think we're going to get our first look at like full-blown gameplay of Dead Island 2. I think we're going to get an actual, tentative release date, like if it's going to come out this year or in 2023. It's all, obviously we're going to have to wait and see, guys, and I'll be sure to give you guys more information as it comes out. But I think that we are getting closer and closer to seeing more from Dead Island 2. But let me know, guys, do you think we're going to see more information about Dead Island 2, or do you think this game is still going to stay in a limbo state or a state of no return? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Dead Island 2 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. One of the most anticipated games of 2022 is without question, guys, in the PlayStation community, God of War Ragnarok. And guys, I'm really excited about this title for a number of reasons, but number one, I think that it's really important to put this into context. I've been, critical at times of God of War and the God of War title that we got. Not that I didn't like the direction that they went in, but I just thought that there were certain things that Santa Monica Studio did incredibly well and other things that they didn't. And no game is perfect, guys, but I just thought that certainly as like a foundation for the new direction of God of War, I thought it was fantastic. There were certain things though that did bother me about the title, and we're going to talk about it here in this segment of the show, because I'm going to give you guys the 5 things that I want in God of War Ragnarok at this point in time. When I say that, guys, obviously the things that I want may be totally different than the things that you want. Some of the things may be very similar. I'd love to hear what you guys want to see in God of War Ragnarok in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. So coming in at number 1 for me, guys, and this really goes without question. Whenever I do a top 5, this is usually number 1 all the time, and that's a full package, guys. I want to see God of War Ragnarok have a full package. What that means is a single player story, co-op modes, and multiplayer modes. And the reason for this, guys, is because after you beat the single player story, even if you play it a couple of times, a lot of times you're going to move on to other games if there isn't other ways to connect with that franchise or that title in particular. God of War is a perfect example of this. When I played it, and obviously, it was a great experience. I played it twice, that being the story. But then after I beat the story a couple of times, I moved on to other games, guys, because there wasn't any other ways to connect with the franchise outside of the campaign. Now, obviously, you can connect on Reddit and social media and things of that nature, but I'm saying from a game perspective, having just single player, which is what this is being dubbed as at this moment in time, guys, God of War Ragnarok is being dubbed just a single player experience. And not that I don't like single player experiences, I just think that if you're only going to have a single player experience, I feel that ultimately it's going to really hurt the longevity of the title. A lot of people play it at first, but then they're going to move on, like I said, to other games. So a full package where you have multiplayer experiences, that being PvE, whether you're going up against, enemies and like against AI with your friends, playing obviously the campaign in a cooperative perspective, playing Kratos and, his son, maybe that would be really cool as one of your friends playing as him, something of that nature, having co-op modes, multiplayer modes, even PvP, I think would be really cool to see in God of War Ragnarok as well. But that's coming in at number 1. At number 2 for me, guys, one of the things that I was most critical of God of War was the simple fact that I really didn't feel like there was a ton of variety with some of the environments. Sure, from a graphics perspective, God of War was awesome, guys. But when we looked at, the overarching, environments and such, it just felt like there were so many snow maps. Like it was always snowing, it felt like, in a number of levels. It wasn't obviously the entire game, guys, but it felt like it was a good percentage of the game was in the snow. And I just kind of would like to have a little bit more variety in that perspective here in God of War Ragnarok. Just variety of environments, variety of weapons you can utilize, and that leads me into number 3, which is I'd like to see, of course, existing characters, existing enemies from this franchise, but I'd also like to see new characters, new enemies. I think that would be really awesome, as well as further customization and things of that nature. And that's why I'm saying having, co-op modes, multiplayer modes, any way that you customize your character, that being able to transfer over to the multiplayer to of course, co-op modes would be absolutely awesome. So I'm really hoping that they do that and kind of bring us some variety, but of course, don't go too far away from what's made God of War so special. Coming in, guys, at number 4 for me, I really want to see, and I talked about this, after beating God of War, that I really feel that Kratos needs to pass the torch, so to speak, to his son. I think that this is one of those titles where I feel that obviously Kratos is getting older. I believe that obviously his son is the next, up and comer here. And I feel that this should be the title that he passes that torch on to him. I'll give you an example. We look at the Gears of War franchise. We played as Marcus Phoenix for 3 titles for that entirety of that trilogy. And then once we got to Gears of War 4, it was essentially Marcus was still in the game, but he had passed the torch on to JD. JD, of course, was his son, and we played as JD, Phoenix, in Gears of War 4. And then Gears 5, he passed the torch on to Kate Diaz. Now, we don't know where it's going to go in Gears 6 and such, but what I'm getting at here is there comes a point where the characters need to still be there to continue supporting and, pushing the story in a certain direction. But I still think that that torch needs to be passed in order for us to get to the next, generation of God of War. Coming in, guys, last but not least, at number 5. This is a really important one that is getting, obviously becoming more and more popular as time goes with a lot of different games, is having different modes or the entire game itself being free to play. I would love to see God of War Ragnarok have a free to play mode. Like, let's just say, for example, the multiplayer is free to play. So you could play against waves and waves of enemies like Gears of War with your friends and such, and all of that's free to play, or play PvP, or maybe the co-op campaign is free to play with your friends. Or maybe even the single player story is free to play. Whatever it is, I'd love to see some free to play modes. We see this so much in so many big games nowadays, and I think it would really help God of War continue building upon their fan base as we go. And yeah, I just think it makes total sense to have some free-to-play modes, because then it justifies that's, obviously having, microtransactions, things of that nature within the game to help obviously the developers and the publishers, get the games made and such. And I think more and more people are more accustomed to spending some money because it's free if from microtransactions and things of that nature. But those are the 5 things that I really want to see, guys, in God of War Ragnarok. The list could go on, but I really want to see those top 5 things. What are the things that you'd like to see in God of War Ragnarok? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more God of War Ragnarok content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. The Rage series is one that I really have enjoyed, guys, overall. The first Rage title being one that I thought could be something pretty special, when obviously when we talk about, ID Software and this company and kind of the games that they've created, some iconic games to say the least. But Rage I thought was pretty awesome, guys. And then when we got Rage 2, I really felt that it was very much so like kind of hit and miss in a number of areas. I overall enjoyed the experience, but I felt like it could have been so much more. And so I want to talk, guys, in this segment of the show about if Rage 3 could be something that gets announced here this year in 2022. And with that being said, guys, you guys can check out all of my Rage 3 content here on the YouTube channel. We've been talking about Rage 3. We've been wanting this game to come out. And so let's talk about it. So guys, in order to talk about the future of a franchise, we got to talk about the past. So obviously the first two Rage titles have done pretty well overall from a reception perspective as well as a sales perspective. We're not going to say that they blew numbers out of the water or anything of that nature. The second one there was a little bit more of a critical reception around the second one. A lot of folks did not, like certain elements of Rage 2. I liked the overall concepts. There were a couple of things that did bother me about Rage 2. One of them being that it didn't feel like there was a lot in the world to really interact with. I mean, it's like this open world game that there really wasn't much out there. It was just, this desert land, this complete wasteland. And I understand what they were going for there, but I just felt like there needed to be more things along the journey to do. And so with a Rage 3, I think I would love to see them have more interactive things to do in the game. I thought that the biggest disappointment to me, though, with Rage 2 was not the campaign, but was the lack thereof of multiplayer and co-op modes. Having a multitude of modes, guys, whether you're talking multiple co-op modes, whether you're talking multiplayer, whether you're talking a campaign, I think that, the fact of the matter is that Rage 2 was this title that I thought had a lot. I mean, I actually really loved the marketing behind Rage 2. I thought it was awesome. I thought they did a really great job from the marketing campaign perspective. This just felt to me, it feels like another Far Cry to me where, Far Cry didn't really, they have primarily kind of specialized in just single player stories, not so much really diving into multiplayer and things of that nature. And Rage just feels like another one of those missed opportunities as a first-person shooter that should have multiplayer. It should have co-op in a major way. And so I've really felt that, especially the multiplayer side of it, because after I beat Rage 2 once, I ended up moving on to other games. I didn't stay in the experience, which I would have if they had multiplayer experiences. I'm sure a lot of other people feel the same way. The second thing, though, guys, really I feel that hurt Rage 2 was Tim Willits. He went ahead and he was the studio director over at ID Software on Rage 2. He was talking while Rage 2 was actually being marketed, he was already talking about Rage 3. He was talking about he wanted this game, Rage 3, to start to kind of get worked on as soon as possible. And I think that was something that was a real problem with Rage 2, guys, because it was almost like they were looking ahead before even really focusing on the now, focusing on what they had in front of them. And I felt that if they would have just, focused on Rage 2 and did as good of a job as they possibly could on it and supported it in a major way at first, I think it would still be doing really good to this day if it had, like I said, multiplayer modes and so on and so forth. And I believe a Rage 3 would have already been greenlit at this point, but instead they were looking ahead already to Rage 3. And so I never really understood that. And so I think that there was a couple of things that really hurt Rage 2, even just from launch. That being said, the question here is, will Rage 3 get announced in 2022? I believe that there's a good chance of it, guys, but at the same time, we know that over at Bethesda and, ID Software, they're working on other titles. I mean, there's no doubt about it. There's a lot of other titles that they're working on, from Doom, most likely, probably like a new Doom game to, we're talking Elder Scrolls, and the list goes on and on and on, right? And so Do I think that Rage 3 could be something that gets announced this year? I do think it could get announced this year. It's probably still going to be a number of years away, but I think that it's definitely something that I do hope does come out. I mean, at the very least, let's get a Rage 3 to kind of round out the trilogy, and then we can go from there and talking about maybe the next generation of Rage games and such. I just want them to make a true Rage game that's got everything that we want in it as a community, that we come back to that experience over and over again, and we're really proud of it, and we're excited about the future of it. I mean, I think that they were looking so far ahead right away with Rage 2 that they missed a real opportunity, I thought, that they had with that title. But that being said, guys, the real question is, what do you think? Do you think that we're going to get an announcement for Rage 3 this year? Or do you think it's something that won't ever come out? Or do you think it's something that won't be announced at least for another couple of years? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Rage 3 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. Ninja Gaiden was a really special title, guys. It was such a fun game and a great hack and slash type of style action game. And with that being said, guys, we have not had a continuation of the Ninja Gaiden series in quite some time, and I really want to see this series come back at some point or another. And so what we're going to be talking about in this segment of the show is about Ninja Gaiden 4 and the possibilities of it. What's Team Ninja saying on their end about this title? And is it something that could be coming this year or announced this year here in 2022 at the very least? Let's get into it. So guys, in an article coming to us from Todd Black of The Outer Haven, the Ninja Gaiden series is a beloved gaming franchise that has transformed itself over the generations of gaming. It was at first an intense 2D side-scroller, but then became an intense 3D action game when the gaming world turned that direction. The main character of it was Ryu Hayabusa, is an icon in the eyes of fans and has been featured in fighting games and other titles over the years. So Japanese magazine Famitsu posed that very question to Team Ninja's Fumihiko Yasuda in a recent issue, and his answer is very much what you would expect, not committing but not denying the possibility. So this is what he said, guys. He said, "We'll see how the reaction to the Master Collection is and judge from there. If it's a hit, there's a good chance there will be one. Honestly, we don't even have a plan yet, but often talk about it with the staff. After the development of Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge, we knew what the series needed, so we have a good idea of what Ninja Gaiden is about. The nature of action games has changed over time, so we need to make sure that the game evolves with the times. Straight action games are also a big hit these days, and the number of people who enjoy those types of games are also increasing, so we'd love to do a Ninja Gaiden 4 someday. Ryu Hayabusa is also very important to Team Ninja, and I think this game is an opportunity to show the world once again that Ryu Hayabusa is the best ninja in the world." So really, when we hear that, guys, to me that says, yeah, I think that Ninja Gaiden 4 could very well come out, but a lot of it really comes down to a number of things, whether we're talking the Master Collection, if they have a good story around it. I mean, the name of the company is Team Ninja, so they really, this Ninja Gaiden has so much to do with Team Ninja, and it's really at the roots of this company. It just really comes down to making sure that they get it right. Obviously, a lot of people thought that the second Ninja Gaiden was the best one. Others liked the third one, but more people than not didn't like the third one. I liked all of them, guys, for what they were. I thought they were all pretty special titles, and I just enjoyed them, and I enjoyed them for what they were. But with that being said, if we're taking Fumihiko Yasuda's comments here, and we're taking obviously we got to take them with a pinch of salt. I do think, though, that there's a very good possibility we could be getting a Ninja Gaiden 4 here, at least announced in the foreseeable future. A return to the old ways, if you will, would likely make fans happy, or a new title that embraces the newer and infinitely powerful graphics engines of the Xbox Series X and PS5 might also please fans. What I will say, guys, about that is, I think it would look incredible on the new gen consoles. A Ninja Gaiden 5 could be something very, very special. So, look, with that being said, obviously we have had the Ninja Gaiden Master Collection was revealed and was released to the world. And so, obviously, overall, it seems like people really want a Ninja Gaiden 4. They're asking for it. And, obviously, all eyes set to now, could this be something Team Ninja works on next? We know that they're working on other titles, guys. There's no question about it. They're working on Dead or Alive. They're working on Neo. And those titles, obviously there's things about them that people love. And so it makes sense that they're working on those as well. But Ninja Gaiden is what was really, what started Team Ninja as a whole. So I would love to see it return at some point or another, and hopefully we get an announcement this year. Let me know what you guys think, though, in the comment section down below. Do you think we'll get a Ninja Gaiden 4 announcement in 2022, or do you think it's going to be, the long-withstanding future until we actually get an announcement? What do you guys think? Let me know. And for more Ninja Gaiden 4 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. With the release date of Dying Light 2 coming very closely, guys, I wanted to talk about a tweet that came out from Dying Light and Dying Light 2, really about the number of hours it would take to fully complete the game. And I want to talk about how this could really affect the future of Dying Light, guys, as a series and what we could expect maybe in the future with Dying Light 3. So let's get into it. So, guys, obviously, coming to us from the official Dying Light Twitter account, they said and tweeted, to fully complete Dying Light 2 Stay Human, you'll need at least 500 hours, almost as long as it would take to walk from Warsaw to Madrid. So, guys, 500 hours to complete the game. Now, I have seen some comments from people saying as long as 300 of those 500 aren't looking for small collectibles, I'm in. And I'm seeing things of that nature. And I agree, but the sheer fact that 500 hours you could put into this game to fully complete it is something pretty special. And, I've been really excited about Dying Light 2 in particular, especially coming off the first game. It's very unique in a number of ways. This second one looks like it's really ramping all of that up. I was a little bit concerned at first because of the delays and things of that nature, and that always kind of makes you a little bit concerned about it being in a development hell cycle, things of that nature. But from everything I've seen of Dying Light 2, I'm really excited about this title and can't wait to get my hands on it and really put some time into it. I don't know if I'm going to be completing the entire 500 hours worth of it, but if it's really good, then there might be it might be worth completing the entirety of the game. That being said, guys, what does this do for the future of this franchise? Well, I mean, when I see, when we're talking about 500 hours to complete a game, what that tells me is that Techland, the developers of Dying Light and Dying Light 2, obviously put a ton of resources into really making this an expansive world and things of that nature. And that's absolutely awesome. But what that really leads me to, guys, is what could we maybe see in the future here for this franchise? They started with, obviously Dying Light. Now we get Dying Light 2 where we're talking, 500 hours to complete the game. What could we see in the future with Dying Light? Now, obviously, we don't know if Dying Light 2 Stay Human is going to have multiple DLCs and things of that nature. I'm sure they're going to have some form of roadmap for this game, guys. But I can just imagine that, obviously, if they want to round out the trilogy or they want to continue making Dying Light games, they're going to want to one-up once again. I mean, they really outdid themselves here from Dying Light 1 to Dying Light 2 Stay Human. And so to go to Dying Light 3, what could that look like? I mean, we're talking 500 hours to complete the game. Could it be 1,000 hours? Could it be more than that? I mean, who knows what it would be moving forward? I mean, this just gets me really excited. Not just so much that there's a ton of content that's going to be in the game to really play and really sink our teeth into, but it also excites me for the future of this series and the franchise as a whole. I'm so excited for the community of Dying Light, which I'm a part of it. I'm excited about this, guys, because it's not just, it's you could look at this and look at it in hindsight saying, oh yeah, this is just for Dying Light 2. But if you really look at it from the perspective of, moving forward, we usually see games come in threes, guys, right? There's usually a trilogy, and then if they do really well, then you start getting continuations at that point. Or after that trilogy, a lot of times the developers will move on to other IPs or other games or create new IPs. And so with Dying Light, I see this and I see these numbers, and depending on how well this does from a sales perspective and a reception perspective, we could really see something special happen. Even though this is obviously, I'm very excited for Dying Light 2, but we could even see something, they could maybe try to one-up themselves once again with a Dying Light 3. But what do you guys think, guys? I think that one of the things that comes to mind for me is that this was obviously worth the wait. If we're talking, they delayed it so that they could create more hours of content and things of that nature in this game for us to really play. I'm very excited about it, guys. Let me know, though, in the comment section down below, what do you think this means for Dying Light to Stay Human? Being, 500 hours to complete the game, what does that tell you? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Dying Light 2 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. Saints Row is back, guys, and with that, I want to talk about everything that we know about this up-and-coming Saints Row continuation that's coming out here in 2022. So let's get into it. So guys, in an article coming to us from Jordan Ramey of GameSpot, after 9 years, a new mainline entry is finally being released for the Saints Row series. Saints Row returns in 2022, having skipped an entire console generation without a new entry in the franchise. Considering Saints Row 4 ends in a way that's difficult to follow, it's no surprise finding a new direction surely took some time. As it happens, the answer that developer Volition decided on was to not follow Saints Row 4 at all, but rather take the series into a brand new direction. And I am so excited about that. I think that they needed to go in a different direction. They don't want to go too far away from what made Saints Row great in the first place, but I do think after Saints Row 4, they needed to change some things without a doubt. Saints Row fully reboots the Saints Row series, moving away from the street gang romp we've come to know and love over the course of Saints Row. Saints Row 2, Saints Row the Third, and Saints Row 4, as well as the alternate reality created in Agents of Mayhem on account of the events of Gat Out of Hell. While Volition is teased that there will be plenty of callbacks to previous games, this new entry moves the series in a new direction with a brand new 3rd Street Saints gang. And so with that being said, guys, the release date, which is what everyone wants to know about. Well, Saints Row is scheduled to launch on August 23rd, 2022. The game was originally set to release on February 25th before being delayed so that the team could do a little bit more fine-tuning, and I'm totally okay with them doing that, guys, without question. What we know is, in terms of narrative and tone, Saints Row seems to most resemble Saints Row the Third, balancing the mostly grounded gang activities of the series' earlier games with the ever more zany antics of the latter entries. Set in the fictional city of Santo Ileso, a location inspired by the American Southwest, Saints Row sees you take control of a brand new boss striving to make a name for themselves. And I'm totally down with that, guys. It sounds pretty interesting. Like previous games in the series, Saints Row's gameplay loop revolves around seizing territory from rival gangs. In Saints Row, that's the muscle vehicle and exercise-obsessed Los Panteros, the anarchist nightclub owners known as the Idols, and the private military corporation Marshall Defense Industries. The boss starts their game by recruiting members from each of these three rivals, forming allies with those who have become disillusioned with the current state of Santo Ileso. So let's talk about this for a minute, guys. I'm totally down with them going in the direction of Saints Row the Third. Saints Row to me was always like a goofy type of GTA style game. Now, I always kind of felt that it, what I wanted it to be was more of a flashy GTA style game, but I still wanted it to be kind of gritty and still very, dark at times as well, even though it's all the like glitz and glamour and such of what a Saints Row game is. I'd like to see them go in that direction because it started to get a little bit more like borderline, just kind of silly in the Saints Row 4. I just felt that it wasn't taking itself serious enough. And not that it has to take itself serious, guys, but I just feel that if we're talking about, Saints Row, I really want it to be still grounded in like elements similar to like GTA and such. I mean, it felt kind of like that, kind of like Mafia, but more of a flashy kind of game. But I don't want it to, be too humorous and things of that nature. It's fine to have that, guys, in Saints Row. I just felt that it kind of went too far away and too much over the top is probably the best word for it than what it should have. But that's just my opinion. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below about that. So while Saints Row includes plenty of unorthodox means of transportation like a flight suit and hoverboards, nothing is on par with the superpowers of Saints Row 4. Instead, the game encourages players to implement driving as a staple part of the experience. As such, Volition has largely rebooted how driving works, giving more options to combat foes while behind the wheel. So the platforms, guys, Saints Row will be released for both current and past generation consoles as well as PC. You'll be able to pick it up on Xbox Series X, S, Xbox One, PS5, PS4, and PC via the Epic Games Store. And you guys can check out all the trailers, guys. Trailers, I mean, hey, you know what? I think it looks pretty good. The one thing I did want to mention a little bit earlier when we were talking about the release date, being this year, you got to take that with a pinch of salt, guys. Obviously, they delayed it because they wanted some more fine-tuning and such. But I think that at the same time, they very well may get delayed again. And so, obviously, if that's the case and it gets delayed again, I'm okay with it as long as, they're really, I just don't want them to release this game and then there's a bunch of issues, like a bunch of glitches and bugs, things of that nature. Feels like an unfinished product. I do not want that to happen here with this reboot of Saints Row. This is a franchise, guys, that I really want to see knock this out of the park and be something really special. And the way that that's going to happen, obviously, is by them taking their time. Multiplayer details, guys. Well, like previous games in the series, Saints Row will feature drop-in, drop-out cooperative online multiplayer, allowing for you and one other friend to team up and play together. Completing missions while in co-op will transfer over to your own save, so you won't waste time or lose your boss character's progression by playing in someone else's game. Now, that's awesome that they're going to have co-op, guys, but I really feel like a true multiplayer experience similar to like GTA Online or Red Dead Online, I would love to see Saints Row Online. I would have loved to see something like that, or even just PvE where you're going up against, like enemies and things of that nature, like outside of, just the normal missions, having other missions that you could do just cooperatively, or playing against PvP in a multiplayer setting. I think that would be really cool as well for this title, but it doesn't look like they're going to be doing that, which is very unfortunate. Now, Volition plans on releasing 3 post-launch expansions for Saints Row, all of which will be included in the game's expansion pass, which is pretty interesting. Overall, though, guys, here's the deal. I'm really excited that Saints Row, it's like they're really trying and they've taken this time, entire console generation, to that being Volition, taking their time to really fine tune and really almost like reinvent Saints Row. And I love this, guys. I love that they're doing this. They're being very self-aware of what they're doing and what they did right, what they did wrong, and what they can do better moving forward. Hey, a lot of games out there don't get 4 games. And so Saints Row did, and this is a title being, as far as main entries, this is the next main entry. So you got 5 main entries now, right? In this franchise. And that's something really special. And so I'm really glad that they're taking their time and they're being very serious about this moving forward. I'm excited about it, guys. I think it could be something really special. It's unfortunate that there's not going to be other multiplayer modes, because after you beat the campaign, a lot of times you may move on to other games if there's not other ways to connect with the franchise. So I'm really hoping that they decide to add more like multiplayer modes as time goes, but we'll have to wait and see, guys. Let me know though. Are you excited for the upcoming Saints Row title? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Saints Row content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. And with that being said, everyone, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of the 8 Below Show. Guys, thank you so much for all the support you guys have been giving me. I'd love to have real conversations with you, whether it's in the comment section down below or on one of the social media networks I'm on. That's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, as well as Twitch at 0_TV. The links are all in the description down below. I'd love to have a real conversation with you guys, whether it's about gaming or about movies. And if you guys are into movies, guys, check the link that's in the description down below for 02. That's my second YouTube channel, guys, where you'll be able to see all of my movie-related content. We can have more conversations over there about everything in the world of movies. And with that being said, guys, like I said, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the 8 Below Show. If you did, leave a thumbs up, guys. That helps out the YouTube channel in a massive way. Subscribe if you're new. That'll give you all the notifications and such of every time we have a new video that goes up on the YouTube channel. Subscribe if you're new, though, guys. Stay positive. Just keep grinding. And as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.